Do you strive to feel inner peace, discover your life's purpose, and live as your authentic true self daily? Then stay tuned for this next episode of Spirit Lift. Before we get started, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video so you can help educate more people on this important topic. And we wish you all an excellent day. Today on this very special episode of Spirit Lifts, I have the special honor of interviewing Diana Árbol, the founder and creator of Ikigai Healing. Since her childhood, Diana wondered why she felt different from her beloved ones, as if she belonged somewhere else. This led her to a tireless search for meaning in her life. And at the age of 28, she decided to leave everything to start a new journey traveling the world that led to her spiritual awakening, where she discovered her purpose to facilitate easy access to the voice of the soul, to use it as a compass towards Ikigai, the purpose of life, in developing her therapeutic method, Ikigai Healing. Diana, welcome to Spirit Lift.
Thank you so much, Devin, to have me here. It's a big pleasure.
No, it's a pleasure for me and for our viewers, Diana. And I think you just have such an incredible story from your journey in life and what you've created, and believe especially in this year, which we're recording 2020, can really give a really powerful and insightful and an uplifting impact for what people could use to uplift themselves, not only for this year and going forward, but really for the rest of their life. So before we get into what you do, Diana, I would really like to know more in depth and to share with our viewers your story, a bit of more who you are, your background, and how you've ended up now in Thailand and doing what you do.
My pleasure. Wow. First of all, it's a big pleasure to be here. It's a big honor because, like you said, no, in these moments of unknown times, really, you don't know what to believe. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Especially for many people that before had a regular life, like a routine life, and now it's not there anymore. I feel that it's very important to have programs like this that bring hope and light, no, and can share other experiences to really know that that's not the only solution, that's not the only way, no, that there are other possibilities, and I feel very fortunate that I can explain my own, because until I was 28 years old, I was really trying to fit into what my parents and the society, I thought they wanted me to be, like I learned until the university. I'm a translator for English and German into Spanish and Catalan, and I was working in an office in a transportation company, but even when supposedly I had everything, like a good job, stable, good people around me, like the bosses loved me, and I enjoyed my work, and had my stability with my boyfriend and my car, and I was to buy an apartment. Suddenly I felt like, wow, you want to put all your savings for the past 4 or 5 years into an apartment, like 4 walls full of bricks, and to say that that's yours for what? That feels like a cage. And I began to feel anxious and I felt that cannot be life, that cannot be it, if what I think they wanted me to do was this, and what's the future, like to get married and to have this apartment and to have a dog and children, and what? So that didn't make any sense to me. Not for who I am, because something I always loved is to travel. I always thought that life is too short and the world is too big to stay in just one place. So it was like, look, people cannot tell me I just can travel for 3 weeks a year or maximum, because you need a week to recover from vacations, and then have this schedule from 9 to 6 and the weekends. It's like, that's all. That sounds like slavery. And I couldn't believe that life was just this. It didn't make sense. It was like, no, there has to be something else, but I didn't know what. I just hoped that there was something else. And I didn't know anything about alternative disciplines, therapies, whatever. I heard yoga. I tried a few times, and Bach flowers, but and Reiki. I had experience with Reiki, but I didn't like it. The guy was a little bit abusive, so it was like nothing to grab into. No, I wasn't a spiritual person, so I just knew I did a master's on volunteering, on international cooperation. I wanted to be like a professional volunteer. I wanted to be paid by the UN to help people, something like this. Like, I don't know, I want to help. That's the only thing. It feels right for me. That's like my
You wanted to
contribution.
engage with people and like make them feel better and help them in some way, right? And you didn't feel when you were younger, you like, and you're still young, you look very young, you didn't feel that you were really like doing enough to fulfill like this inner sense of being to really engage and help people. Is that how you felt?
Exactly, because I could help my workmates and my bosses and the customers to have better experiences with our company. I was in the sales department, so I was connected to many people, but I didn't feel I was making a real deep change into their happiness. Like our boss keeps on being who she is, and she doesn't care. It doesn't feel like she's caring. So I felt like I did care, and that this engaging with other people and trying really to make a difference was what moved me, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't have the tools. So I thought, okay, international cooperation. I want to be, it came to me because I saw this picture of the Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders, a picture of a guy in the jungle helping people not to get out of there, like injured people or something. So I felt like, yes, I want to be in that picture. So how do I think? In a way,
sounds like a good goal, actually, because I mean, it's hard to sometimes, like, and I'm sure that this is part of what you do now that you'll be able to explain a little bit, but like there for some people, and I felt like this way as well in many circumstances growing up, is like you want to do something that has like this direct impact, this direct way of making people feel uplifted. And I don't know if it's just a natural sense or feeling of contribution, compassion, empathy. That's just that kind of pours out, that makes you have that drive. But there's something, I think, a natural instinct with most people in this world, where if you contribute to bringing them up and making them feel better somehow, like you are completing your life's mission in some way. I don't know, is that kind of where you trend?
That's the Ikigai. When you find this gift that you want to share with people, that it's something that it's natural in you, that like this, no, I want to help people to feel better, but I don't know what's my gift. How can I channel it? That also needs to combine that with your passion, if you know what your passion is. And then to make it a service, so you can help with this to people, no? With something that you're gifted to do, like it's natural in you, and you're passionate about it, so you can do it endlessly, and that you can live from it. That's the Ikigai.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it worth it, makes it worth every day, because then you're meeting people and you're really bring the best of you. You're bringing this gift, the piece in the puzzle. No, you're this with this gifts and passions, and this is what you can contribute the world with, whatever it is. But this will make people around you feel better because you're contributing to make their lives better, whatever it means. No, but when you can support other people's life, makes your life really worth it. It's like it's a basic need for everybody. We are cells in the body, and cells cannot be isolated. They need to feel, they can exchange with the others, they can contribute, uplift, however you want to call it. No, but together we can help each other to be alive and enjoying. If not, we're all sinking, so it's like
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I want to go into more depth about what you do in Ikigai and the actual healing. And so just before we do that in more depth, what brought you from your journey of traveling? What brought you then to Thailand, and how has that been for you?
Yeah, that was the next step. Like saying, okay, this cannot be life. I don't know what is life. In my master's degree, they don't do the volunteering. Like they had a project in Asia, but they closed it. And I said, look, I don't care. I'm going to take my vacations and go to Asia and find an NGO and try it. I don't want to believe anybody else. I want just to try. But this vacation was only a month, and I thought, wow, if I'm going to be in a work camp for a month, I'm going to be very tired coming back, and I want to feel that I traveled around. So I thought, look, I'm going to begin again the university on January. So until December, 4 months, I'm going to take just a break from work and check it out. So I said, bye. I don't know if I'm coming back, but I'm going. And it was amazing. All these feelings of all people that were like for the past 20 years in the company were saying, wow, you're making my dream come true. I always wanted to do that, but I was too afraid. So I got married and I'm here. So cool. I applaud you for having the courage to do it. And I was like, cool, really, that reinforces my gut feeling, So I heard that many times. Also, I heard other people saying, wow, you're crazy. You want to go to Thailand and India? That's dirty and that's poor and that's what? So I was like, okay. I was last year for a month in India and it was okay. I just want to try in Thailand. That was my first stop of this journey. After 3 days, I saw that, like they said in my master's degree, that NGOs don't really help, just put band-aids. And like, if governments are stealing the lands of people, what can you do, really? So after being a month and a half here, I went to India looking for how to help. And then I noticed that I was lost, that instead of trying to volunteer outside, I should volunteer myself.
Yeah, so, looking for something outside, but then aligning that with how you feel from the inside.
Yes, right? Yes, my basic feeling was, look, you don't know what your gifts are or your passion. You don't know who you are. You've never been asked, and you never ask yourself what you want from life. So just look for it. Give yourself the time. You have 3 months ahead of you. Just give yourself this chance.
Allow it to happen, right?
Yes. So the first thing I allowed to happen was in Rishikesh. In Dharamsala. I met the Dalai Lama. Before I met him, I was in an intensive course of introduction to Buddhism.
Oh, wow.
And everything that the teacher said was so like, sure, we're love, the master is inside. Sure. And for me, it was like, thank you for refreshing something that it was innate in me and I didn't know. But at the same time, she was very angry at me because I used to do very uncomfortable questions like, okay, so if God or the master is inside of me, why are you surrounded by statues that look like gods and that you're praising, or, you know? And she wanted to get me out of there very fast. Like this, like questioning. All my life has been about questioning. Why like this? That I think is very healthy too. Like
Absolutely.
to question ourselves. Why are we doing this? Why we think we need to follow this, whatever they're saying, like listen to our inner voice, this gut feeling that sometimes is wiser than anybody in front of us. So after that, I went to Rishikesh, to another beautiful city in India, in the north of India, and I met Reiki. I met this amazing Reiki teacher that just showed me that we can heal ourselves with our own hands and our own, and not our own energy, channeling the universal energy. And I thought, like, what are you talking about? Like, for me, that was mind blowing. That was my waking up into this world. Like, gosh, this energy, like, I can take away my own pains with my own hands. Like, we can heal ourselves without going to the doctor. It was really mind-blowing. So I needed to do all the courses, and she did like one after the other. So after 9 days, I changed my profession from translation and the sales department into Masters in Reiki.
Wow. From that trip. So you basically just, when you were exposed to all this, you're just like, I got to do this. This is what I got to go for, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that was the most exciting moment in my life, I think. Really, like to find out, that was my Ikigai. Really, like, tell the people they can heal themselves. Not that we have the master inside, that we have all what we need. We just need to look inside. And so I made like an agreement with my guides, because our teacher said, look, you have guides with you. You don't know who they are. Doesn't matter. But they're guarding you. So I told them, look, I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like I want to jump into the pool of this that I just discovered. I'm all for it. You just guide me, give me some signs, some clues, and I'll go all for it, like with full heart. I really want to do this. Just help me out. Just cover my needs, so I'm not stranded, or, like.
Yeah.
And that was it. That since there has been 16 years already.
And so that led you from where you were there to Thailand then, right?
I was there, well, that night I met my husband.
Yeah, there you
go. Yeah. I was telling everybody, you need to go to this teacher. And he said, yeah, I want to learn Reiki, but I want to learn it with you. So everything began there.
It worked out.
Yeah, and then we began to travel together. And that was like a whole year in India, and like we were visiting his family in Israel and my family in Spain. But then we were in Mexico for a year and a half. Then got pregnant. We went to Spain to live for a while, and then to Israel. And after so much settling down, I told him, look, this is stressing. I want to go back to the traveling we used to do at the beginning, like the first 3 years, because we're travelers. Our spirits are like I told you before, like life is too short, and the world too big to just stay. And we have 3 children. So I thought, no, to be in Israel is too stressing and limited. And I want to show them what we saw and a little bit more. So let's travel the world. And because Israel has big travelers, so the people, the community there told us, first begin with Kopangan, which I didn't visit before, because they're also community with families here and you'll enjoy. So we began last year In November we arrived, and since has been 10 months, and we're very happy here. Like, this is the first stop, but thankfully the COVID happened while we were here, while we were still seeing what to do, where to go, but it feels good, and the kids can go to jungle school, and we're like stressing ourselves. And then this experience of the COVID came, and
now you're there. And
living on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't be in a better place in 2020 than where you are, so you should think yourself so lucky. And you know what's amazing about your story, Diana, is that it just seemed like you took, in a way, like a certain risk. Like, okay, I'm gonna leave back this life that can give me some security and comfort in a certain way, and I'm going to jump into the unknown and just float and see where to go. And I think that's incredible. And I would love for you to explain to our viewers now, like, you founded Ikigai Healing. What please maybe if you could define that more profoundly, what it is and what it consists of, if that's okay.
Sure. Through all these 16 years of being awake and wanting to help, I was looking for tools that would help me to go to the source of our compass, our inner compass, that would make us independent. Not this self-healing, that it's also self-consciousness. So you know where to go, how to jump into the pool, but with a prejudice. Like, I never jumped to the pool without plan B, because I had savings, because this or that. Like, I'm very careful with my steps, but I did this jump into the pool several times, and I don't know if I'm lucky or just I follow my dreams, my guides, and my guides guard me. But I think it's something that happens to many people, because I've seen it around thousands of times, that when we attune to that inner voice, magic happens. It seems magic, but it's just that we are tuned to our destiny, to our Ikigai. So I was always looking for that. So I learned many techniques, like regressive therapy and Akashic record reading, which is like connecting to the Akashic record. In science, they call it the morphogenetic field by Rupert Sheldrake, and that means that it's the field of information that that the water behaves in a certain way, or the fire, or you have certain memories. This is like the memory of the plan. I call it like the divine plan, no? The blueprint, where you have the information for the rest to know how to behave. Not all the elements and everybody and our memories, our past lives, our planets, anything has their akasha, no? Their field with the information. And this is something that I've seen that many philosophies put it like very far, for like gurus or very enlightened people. And I noticed that it's our nature that we are made of this akasha, of this field, no? So it cannot be far. It's always inside. So this looking inside, that began with the Reiki and continued with the meditation, and then with the Akashic record reading, I noticed that this inner truth, it's always your inner truth. So the main thing I do is to help people to connect to this inner voice, no, and how to distinguish from the ego, because that's our fears and all what retrains you, like all these voices from your childhood that tells you don't do this, you're crazy, you're not going to be able to do that, This is your ego, and your soul is the contrary. It's the first one that whispers, no, that's what you need to do.
And it's very soft, no?
Go for it. It's the first one to tell you when you see, for example, this picture, no, in the website that I saw of Doctors Without Borders. then this feeling of, I want to be there, this, and you feel it in all your body. This is like an inspiration. Your soul inspires you, and you feel it. It's like, so the ego comes afterwards and say, how are you going to do it? You're crazy. But that's in the jungle. And what does it take? You need to be a doctor. What do you want to be a doctor? How many years? What we
Yeah, exactly.
So,
the crazy monkey, right?
So this is this exactly. So the soul is the one whispering in the first place, and the ego always comes second to say, you're crazy. So if we're the third one, we're the observer, the consciousness, that sees both of them and can choose. If you're in silence, if you just take 3 deep breaths to be able to listen to it, that's basic it. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the soul communication. That's the first part.
And I love that. I haven't really heard that before, where someone has explained it like you do, that that first feeling or impact that you feel upon you that is maybe so soft but instantaneous, is like the soul part of you, and then everything that's of doubt and fear is the ego part after. I think that's a really interesting way to to reveal that, because I think it's absolutely important that we take that into consideration when we go about our life, because otherwise, like you said, there's no compass. Like, where's the compass going? We don't know. It's all over the place. But we have to distinguish that, and if we distinguish that can really help us. And so with the Ikigai healing, what, because you have 3 phases, and you talked about kind of the first part. So what did the other 2 consist of?
Yeah, this is soul communication. The second one is tribiodecodification, because in the first part, what I do when somebody comes to have a session with me, they come with a list of questions. I have my website like a list that they can get inspired with. They can do whatever questions they want, and it's like an interview to the soul. Like I ask permission to get into that field of information, and I channel. I just attune myself to that information, so they can do that themselves. That's what I teach in the courses. So that's like the main thing. That for me is like how to use my compass. I show 10 different techniques to understand how your body reacts, how you feel when it's your soul or when not. And like your body meditation and like a kind of a prayer, the pendulum. Many techniques. So this is like ask the soul, what did I come here to do? But from that perspective, not from the origin of the soul. Where was it born? Like, I'm a starseed that I was born somewhere else. That's why I feel so weird. Or I'm an earthling, and that's why I feel so attached to this earth. Who I am originally. That was my inner search. But then the second step, and Diana Árbol, it's my family name, but Spanish, so Árbol means tree.
Ironic.
Ironically, but like my destiny was telling me, look to the family tree, and this family tree, I learned also family constellations and transgenerational and metagenealogy. It doesn't matter, it's like I did a compendium in this tribiodecodification to understand your family history. You see, people need to do a questionnaire, and I put it in a genogram, so they see their family and they see the connections they have with the people in the family through dates, like birth dates or dates of death or events or sicknesses or professions or names, things that are repeating and they are meaningful in their destiny. Now it's like, okay,
why is that meaningful, Diana? Why is that part important for your person's path to know?
Because, for example, if you have the same name like your father and your grandfather, you're repeating the story. Okay, you're their hair. Like we call it like their double. No, and this double is that I'm duplicating their destiny in some way. So whatever they didn't accomplish, they give you their mochila, their backpack with all the stuff inside and say, okay, now's your turn. You try it better. So you better know what you're carrying in your backpack, because that's conditioning you. And if you want to accomplish your destiny, your Ikigai, notice what the Ikigai is this, no? Your purpose in life. You need to know who is retaining you and why. Because this is not from your grandparents. It's from your soul, from your previous incarnation that said, okay, look, in the past life, wow, I really end up really badly with my father, with my husband, and I abandoned my children. So I need to make up for them somehow. So let's do it differently this time. So in this space between lives, we get to meet again and sign up different contracts. So we say, okay, I abandoned you, so this time you abandon me. Okay, so we'll get to meet again, but through either we do it through compassion and love and forgiveness, or it won't work. We'll meet again life after, no?
So like
And
playing
our
different
children-
roles, right? Playing different roles,
Yes.
characters in a like a
Yes.
theater almost, no?
Yes. So you need to know this in order to be more conscious of what's your role in this life, because then that makes it much easier to say, okay, so I need to be abandoned in order to see my parents differently, which were my children. Basically, it's all about love and compassion for myself and for the rest. That's the final answer. But the way we reach there gets a little bit
It's
more...
like a maze, right? Like going
Yeah.
through a labyrinth sometimes. And the third part of your Ikigai as well, it's called, isn't it called the root?
The root healing, yeah. The root healing, it's because we go to the root of the source, not of this problem, of this challenge that you have, no? Okay, it's very hard for me to forgive my parents because they, for example, I've been talking these days with somebody from Argentina that told me that there are millions of children that have been bought, not adopted, but they were bought, appropriated, they call it, like the mothers of the Plaza de Mayo of the. So these weren't just 500. There are millions of children like this in South America, especially in Argentina. And he told me, there's a big grief because we don't know our biological parents, because we were stolen from them. Our parents now, they saved our lives, but they bought them. So they have a lot of anger and frustration. So that's their purpose. That's like their purpose is to overcome this through love and compassion. And that's a big deal. So that's what I do in the third phase with family constellation, with regressive therapy, EFT, EMDR, like everything to go to the source, whatever it is, and to go to a process for finding peace with these challenges we had, whatever.
I want to bring up something important regarding that, Diana. Do you think that the way we experience life, because a large majority of the population in the world suffers, I think more than, everyone suffers in their own way, for sure, no matter what background you come from, but some seem to suffer more than others, whether it's through that example that you gave, or starvation, or slavery, or whatever. There seems to be more extremes of these modalities of suffering. Do you think, and going back to what you were saying, we come here to understand why we go through those things. So
Completely.
What I'm trying to say with that is that through your healing, sounds like you can help people through Ikigai healing come to a point of clarity and understanding to then arrive at the idea or the main connection of why they're here and why they are living the way they're living and how they could bring their true self in this life. Is that right?
Completely. That's my personal Ikigai for the past 16 years too. That was like my contribution. How can I really help people to be happy? For me, that's to help them to find their authenticity. And authenticity is to allow yourself to be, cannot allow yourself to do that if you consider that you're conditioned by somebody else's deeds, thoughts, beliefs, because you're not in peace with that, from what happened in the past, whatever it was. So we can only be truly happy with what we have right now. That's the only thing we have. If you go to Africa, when you're mentioning like starvation, one of the first images now we get in our brain, it's Africa. But for what I haven't been in deep Africa, like I wish, but we will, they are not unhappy. On the contrary, they're most happy people, and they don't have much. That's it. That's the key, that we have it in our hands, but we keep on looking somewhere else, and it's outside, and it's wrong. It's like, oh, that hurt me, and I can't forgive it, whatever it was. No, and I don't feel good enough. But it's not true. You're amazing. You're perfect. You're the perfect piece in the puzzle. You just need to make peace with yourself and with whatever happened, so you can fit in your own place in the puzzle, not in somebody else's place. Like I tried for many years. Then it's like, okay, so my place is not where my father wanted me to be. It's very different. It's in Thailand, on the beach.
And you're so lucky, And I think that's a very important, it's such an important point you're making, because like you said, no matter if you are in whichever country, on whatever side of the world, and somebody's on the extreme opposite, having two different types of lives, the happiness really comes from clarity and perspective and awareness, in a way, to that connection inside of you. And I think it seems like it's definitely worked out for you really well in that way, and that's awesome. And you're helping so many people with what you're doing to help them discover that inside of them. And just to conclude, Diana, on this conversation, we're filming this video and this podcast and recording this podcast in 2020. A lot of people around the world are feeling very despaired, more fearful than most years in recent memory. How can Ikigai healing for people in distress situations all around the world, how can they just change their lives around completely doing Ikigai healing with you?
Well, for me, that's this journey that I love to go with, to accompany, because what I really try to do is like to bring people to their inner voice, like to their authenticity through the perspective of the soul, to make peace with their roots, with their families, through these very deep techniques, that what they basically do is to balance your conflicts into peace, into forgiveness, into love. And this acceptation it's not like giving up because my father was abusive. I can tell you, my father was abusive, and I still love him very much. Like, we can talk and we cannot agree, but I know, I can see him now. I can see my parents in a very loving way, but I don't need to agree, and they don't need to agree with me. But we can be in peace. We can be in peace with our parents, with our past, and especially with ourselves, because then we're free. We're free to choose. And that's the gift, to be able to allow yourself to be authentic, to allow yourself to live the way you just want to be, even if that implies to jump into the pool and do stuff that most of the people would be fearful from. But it doesn't matter. It's your life, it's not theirs. It's your dreams. So it's okay. Maybe you get stuck in a paradise. Okay, accept it.
That's okay.
That's for me the gift of the Ikigai healing, just to follow your inner compass, to be truthful.
Yeah, no, that is incredible. Sorry, I think we had a delay there in the video, Diana, but that's an incredible message. And I encourage all of our viewers, if you want to just set yourself free, set yourself liberated, follow that inner compass to get you on the direction in your life that you're looking for, to feel happy, to feel peace, to feel authentic, to feel alive. We're going to include all of Diana's information below, and also in the video description below. And for those listening on podcast form, it will be in our video description on the YouTube channel, and soon on our website, so you can find it there. But you do remote Ikigai healings, Diana, is that correct?
Only. Yeah.
Only. Okay, so that's perfect. So that's very convenient for 2020, obviously. And
Yes.
I encourage all of our viewers to really, if you're seeking that sense of inner peace, inner direction, inner happiness, check out Diana's info in the description below. Diana, this was such an honor to speak to you, and it's such an incredible healing way that you help people. And I'm happy for you that you've discovered your own journey and you've ended up in a beautiful side of the world. So congratulations to you as well. So,
yeah, that's what happens when you apply your medicine to yourself.
That's right. You got to just flow with it. So thank you very much again, Diana, and we'll see you on the next episode, Spirit Lifters. Take care.
Yes, thank you. Namaste.